Hey friends, we got an example here for you on how you're going to submit code using GitHub. If you've never done it before, it's okay. It's a lot of steps, but we'll get through it. And we're going to practice it a lot for every project. We'll be using it for every project. So you practice it a lot, you'll get comfortable with it. So the Lab 2 discussion is give something for your partner to solve, a classmate to solve, and then your reply is the code to solve it. And what we're going to do for our GitHub practice is you're going to take your solution code and you're going to submit it to GitHub. So it's just a couple steps here, so let's follow along. So you'll click this classroom.github.com link, and it will say, do you want to accept the assignment? If you're not logged in, you'll have to log in first. So yes, we accept the assignment, and it says, hey, it might take a minute. It takes like 3 seconds. So just go ahead and refresh, and now we've got a link. This link here is a private repository that you have access to and I have access to, right? I'm the only one who has access to this one, but again, that's okay. So I'll have access to it, and you will as well. So it'll say CIS 2141, Winter 2024, Lab 2, and then your username. Whatever your GitHub username is great. Doesn't matter. Now what we need to do is get the copy of this folder, right? A Git repository is just a folder, onto your computer. My favorite way to do this is click the code button and say Open with GitHub Desktop. If you haven't installed the GitHub Desktop tool, desktop.github.com, linked in the syllabus, go ahead and download that. And then, we want to go ahead and open it. It'll open and say, hey, we're going to clone this repository. Clone's a fancy term for it. Let's make a copy of it. So it's saying, here's the website for it. I'm going to put it here on your computer. Again, you can put it anywhere you want. I like it in the Documents GitHub folder. If you're on Windows and you have OneDrive, because Microsoft loves OneDrive, which is actually a great tool, it probably wants to put it in your OneDrive documents. It's a little silly to do that because then you'll have 2 copies of it in the cloud. You'll have it in the OneDrive cloud and the GitHub cloud, and Microsoft owns GitHub, so Microsoft will actually have 2 copies of it. Sure, well, it doesn't really matter, but mine is not in the OneDrive because it irritates me when OneDrive tries to sync all the time. So I'm going to say clone, and it's going to make the folder. Now, if you don't remember where you put it, you've got some shortcuts. You can say show in Explorer. It'll open up a File Explorer window right to that location. Perfect, that's what we need. I'm actually going to grab this path here. I'm just going to click in the white space and go ahead and copy that. I'm going to use that in a minute. And then we also have the view on GitHub. We'll come back to that in a minute. So in RStudio, I'm going to make a new project. And let's, I want to save those, sure. And I want a existing directory here. I want a new project, sorry. I get confused with those ones because we have a folder, but it's a new project. So we'll say new project. And where are we going to put it in? Create it as a subdirectory of. So this is where we're going to go and find that location we had before. And we can copy paste in here if you want, or you can go browse around if you like browsing. Right? So mine's in my documents folder here in GitHub, and then I've got all these folders here. So mine would be the 2141 Lab 2 folder. I'd say open. And then we'll say this is Lab 2 or whatever we want here. So it'll put a folder inside a folder, which is great. We'll make the project. And then in here now, we'll make our file, right? Because we want to be able to keep these files around, not just do it in the console here. And then maybe I'll give that a save as here's Lab 2. And, we'll do something here, right? Some solution here. Once you've got that file, now the GitHub desktop client will say, hey, I see your R file and your R project file, right? We've got our code. It should all be here. You can make as many commits as you want. They're free. Technically, we use some electricity, but we don't have to pay for it. So there's no charge to us for making commits. So say Lab 2 started. When you're done with it, you can commit again. We want to push to go sync with the cloud. And then I'm going to say view on GitHub. This is your last step. If you can see it on github.com, and it's part of this OCC repo, or I'll be able to see it on github.com. So I can go into the Lab 2 folder, go into my Lab 2 R file, and again, your code should be here, right? I just have this little sample. And then the URL you're going to give me is your repository. So go ahead and come in here, grab this URL up here, and then when you go to the assignment here, what you're going to submit is that URL. That's all you're going to give me here and turn it in. We're going to follow the same process for project 1, but it's got a different link that you'll use. Oh, I got to add that link. I forgot to add the link, but you'll solve your problem here. All right, if you got any questions, let me know. Post in the Discord channel, ask your classmates here. Git's new for most people, and that's okay. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but you'll love it, I promise.